Hello guys, it's Peter from PS Sound, and now this is part 4 of this door enclosure build. Yeah, sorry, you had to wait a bit for this part to come, because yeah, I think I finished this enclosure at the end of January probably, and now it's the beginning of June, so yeah, it's been a bit mad, especially with Euro finals at the end of March. But this is the end result. As you see, now it follows the lines nicely, and that piece was 3D printed and is under the vinyl. I managed to tuck the vinyl in nicely, so yeah, that represents my company logo. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. You know, some people would like to see LED lights around the speaker, but yeah, I guess I could do that and do crazy things. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, I like to make it look neat up front, kind of nothing to the eye and everything for your ears, and I can go crazy in the boot. And as you see, the glass goes down all the way. Let's bring it up. So that tolerance that I left behind the enclosure, probably like only 5mm, was just enough so I can still use the window all the way down. And if I shut it, here we are. Now my right foot is on the accelerator, and I still have a bit of a distance from the enclosure. I can rest my leg on it. If I hadn't done the cutouts of the inner skin, then the sub would have come in too far and would have pushed my leg away, so it would have been difficult to drive, but this way now it's absolutely fine. Obviously on passenger side it wasn't an issue, but on driver's side it had to happen. With a slim sub, I guess you could be fine, but here it was very important. And that's the other side. And what does it sound like? Yeah. Most of you know that I have two 18-inch subs in IB in the back, and that was one of the reasons why I needed these 8 up front in stereo, and the other reason was because that 6.5-inch up on the dash doesn't really want to play that low. On the 100 Hz it's very difficult to get that response with the right level, and you wouldn't be able to integrate the sub in the back to the 6.5s up on the dash. Yes, I used to have that single 8 up front there, and it was easy to integrate that 8 to the 6.5 up there on passenger side, but it was very difficult to integrate that front sub to this side. You didn't have that body of the bass on driver's side, so I thought I would have, you know, one on each side, and that would do the trick. Yeah, I cannot really demo what it's like, you know, what it sounds like. The mic would just probably distort, but those people who've sat in this car and could get a demo, well, you can't get out of this car without getting a crazy demo when the system is playing proper full tilt on, you know, console levels. They can tell that yeah, it's quite an experience. You know, if the level of the rear sub is just right, it blends in. It blends in so nicely with the 8 up front that you don't even tell that the sub is not coming from up front. Okay, yes, I have like 20 dB headroom in the rear subs. Once you turn that up, you can't deny that the wave is coming from the back, because it's just absolutely mental. You know, it does hair tricks. Your eyes wobble, you can't see, which is, yeah, not really needed for a sound quality setup. But if you want to go silly, you may as well go silly. I mentioned to a friend of mine the other day that at the moment the setup is a bit like, if I wanted to compare the audio system to a car, I would say it's like the AMG GT, which is a fantastic car. It's probably the closest car at the moment to the Porsche GT3, which is one of the best track cars. And the AMG GT is, I mean, yeah, you can just turn all the traction control and everything off, and then it's proper bonkers. You know, you can slid around the track, just smoke the tires, and this system is a bit like that. I can just change a preset down there, which is now in that one, in demo. That was my SQ setup for the competition, and in that preset I have 2 dB more on the front 8 subs, so you get a bit more body, as well as you can turn the rear sub up even more. And then, yeah, it's a bit crazy, shall I say. But I hopefully, you know, I get comments from a few of the people who listened to this setup before, and you know, it's not just my opinion about it now. But otherwise, you know, those 8 disappear once people sat in, when the car was completely blacked out, and those people who didn't know what I had in the car, they didn't even assume I had anything in the doors until it was playing at a higher level, when you can obviously feel the wave moving your trouser. But other than that, you know, once the levels are set up well, and those 8 are time aligned, the sum appears in the middle of the sound stage, which is right in the middle of the dash, and then the 6.5s up on the dash pull them up, and you hear the bass up on top of the dash, which is what you really want from an audio system in a car. No resonance or whatsoever. You could probably hear very slight resonance if nothing else was playing on only the 8s, because obviously the enclosure kills quite a lot of resonances, but it's still mounted on the door, and you know, above a certain level, when that speaker is moving crazy, certain elements inside of the door, like the window mechanism, you know, those elements start to come alive. But when everything else is playing, the whole system is playing, you don't hear anything. You can't compare it to, you know, when you have a mid-bass driver in the door and playing into the door. It's just like day and night. You really cannot compare it. So they do a great job in between 40 and 100 Hertz, where I needed them. They still play down at 35, but not with the right level. But it's just fine, because then you can integrate the rear subs, cross them at around 30-35 with certain slope that works between the two, and then, you know, that just blends in. And yeah, it's great. You must hear it. I may just take a video at the end when the system plays a bit louder and the speaker does a bit of excursion, and I don't drive the neighbors crazy. Yeah, this is it after 80 hours of work on 2 of these. 2 weeks work. Which sounds crazy now. Well, I was lucky to have that free time at the end of January, because now in the middle of the season, yeah, I wouldn't be able to kick it out in 2 weeks. It would probably take like a month to find 80 hours of free time for my car. So yeah, this is it. I hope you liked the video, guys. Just drop a line if you have any questions. I always appreciate that. And we will see what I kick out next time. Yeah, take care.